The Ain't No Fang podcast. From Arizona Sports, Ain't No Fang.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Ain't No Fang, Arizona Sports Diamondbacks podcast, coming to you on a Friday after Major League Baseball awards were announced. We got some exciting World Baseball Classic announcements. And so there's a lot of Diamondbacks news to get to in the past couple of days. And so let's kind of jump right into it and see what's going on. The big news, in my opinion, and one of the biggest pieces of news for the Diamondbacks this offseason was who was going to play in the World Baseball Classic come this March. And we found out at the MLB Awards yesterday that Corbin Carroll is going to be representing Team USA at the World Baseball Classic. So it'll be a first for him. He has represented the United States in kind of U18 tournaments before, but in terms of kind of playing on the biggest international stage that baseball has to offer at this point, Corbin Carroll is going to be in the ring there. So right now with Team USA, after yesterday's announcement that Corbin Carroll and Pete Armstrong from the Chicago Cubs will play for the United States, their roster has Aaron Judge, it's got Cal Raleigh, it's got Paul Skeens, it's got Bobby Witt Jr., and now Carroll and PCA. That's a pretty good start to a core for a team looking to win the tournament after they were the runners-up back in 2023 with Japan winning the World Baseball Classic. I think this is a pretty big deal for Corbin Carroll. I think it's an indicator on where he is in terms of his stature in baseball, right? I mean, when you look at the best outfielders in the world, you look at the best American outfielders in the world, he's very obviously on the top of that list. But he made a pretty loud introduction to himself in 2023, winning the Rookie of the Year, playing in the postseason, having a historic rookie season with 25 home runs and 54 stolen bases. And then he had to fight through the rut a little bit last year, or in 2024, through the first 4 months. But really, since August 1 of 2024 through the end of 2023, he has been statistically one of the most dangerous power hitters in all of baseball. And to put himself in an environment where he's playing meaningful, competitive tournament games with the best in the world, where it's not, the All-Star game setting, it's multiple games where you're in it to win something that's meaningful. I think that's a pretty cool environment to put a guy into, especially going into a season, and see what he could potentially take away from that. So it should be a fun experience to watch him in the WBC. We'll see who else from the Diamondbacks ends up on rosters, right? Because there's plenty of candidates. For the Dominican Republic, could we see Ketel Marte and Geraldo Perdomo? For Venezuela, could we see Gabriel Moreno? Obviously, last time back in 2023, Merrill Kelly represented the United States, and Alec Thomas went to go play for Team Mexico. Could that be something that happens again? So that'll be something to watch in terms of not just roster moves or who goes where this offseason, but what commits we see to various national teams as we get ready for the World Baseball Classic. Again, that'll start up in March, I believe March 5th or March 6th. That's when it starts up. Unfortunately, the games are not going to be in Phoenix this time like they were last time, but a lot of these teams are going to be playing against Cactus League clubs in exhibitions to get ready for it. So the Diamondbacks are going to be playing Team Mexico. Team USA is going to be playing against the Dodgers. They're going to be playing against the Rockies. I think Mexico is going to be playing against the Dodgers as well. So we have all that stuff on ArizonaSports.com of who's going to be playing where, but there will be opportunities to see these guys before they go off to the WBC. Okay, awards. Yesterday, we found out who the most valuable players of each league are. Shohei Ohtani won for the NL. Aaron Judge won for the AL. And for Geraldo Perdomo, he ends up 4th place for the National League in the MVP race. He got a handful of second place votes, handful of third place votes. He ends up in 4th with Ohtani 1, Kyle Schwarber 2, and Juan Soto 3. With all MLB, Ketel Marte gets first team. Corbin Carroll ends up on the second team, and Perdomo got snubbed from the all MLB teams, which I found a little bit curious. Didn't quite get that one. Bobby Witt making the first team was a no-brainer. Bo Bichette getting second team I thought was a bit generous, just because Bo Bichette had a really good season. He missed some time at the end, but when you look statistically at him versus Perdomo played 161 games. He out-homered him, had more RBIs, he had a higher OPS. And when it comes to wins above replacement, if you're looking at that, Perdomo ends up with 7, Bo Bichette with 3.5. I mean, he had double the amount of wins above replacement that Bo Bichette had. So Bichette had a really good year and is going to make a lot of money in free agency, but I really didn't quite understand why Geraldo Perdomo was left off the all MLB teams. However, making a top 5 finish in the MVP, I think that's pretty darn cool for a player who has worked as hard as Perdomo has worked to get up to this point in his career. At 25 years old, a team leader, and just had a far and away breakout season for what we had been used to watching for his first couple seasons. I mean, he Um, hits 20 home runs with 100 RBIs, and he hadn't hit even 15 home runs in his career leading up to 2025. And he becomes the first Diamondback shortstop to reach 100 RBIs. And he did it in a way offensively where he added this power without taking away from what made him unique and special before that, which was his plate discipline, his ability to make pitchers work really hard to try to get him out. He still set a career best in terms of his walk rate and a strikeout rate while adding that kind of power. I think that says a lot about where he is as a player. And he kind of rose up to a certain level where he's not just a nice piece who fits on a team, where he now had a superstar caliber season and should be looked at as a, potential top end talent in Major League Baseball going forward. Somebody with Corbin Carroll, and we'll see what happens with Ketel Marte and Gabriel Moreno as, the core guys to build around for this baseball team moving into the foreseeable future, especially with Perdomo signing an extension before the 2025 season. That looks like a pretty good bargain right now for the Diamondbacks. With Carroll he ends up finishing 7th in the voting. Makes some sense that he would be a top 10 finisher. I mean, he was near the top of the National League leaderboards in a lot of different statistics. He ends up with over 30 home runs. He gets to 30 stolen bases. He's the first Diamondbacks player to have a 30-30 season. And just is one of the top players in terms of extra base hits, total bases, slugging percentage. All that stuff is towards the top of the leaderboard. And then Ketel Marte received a down ballot vote, so he'll have a number next to his name on Baseball Reference. But for him, the big win was the fact that he made first team All MLB. Makes sense. He's just as far and away the best second baseman in Major League Baseball this season. 28 home runs, even when he missed a month of action. An OPS that neared 900 again. Just another consistent, really solid offensive season for Ketel Marte. Okay. So Ohtani wins the award predictably in a unanimous vote. Nobody in the National League was going to touch him on that one. In the American League, as I mentioned, it was Aaron Judge. That was a little bit more hotly contested, right? It was 17 first place votes for Judge, 13 for Cal Raleigh from the Seattle Mariners. And when I look at it, it's sort of like a heart versus head debate, right? Because you look at them on paper, side by side, their offensive numbers, their WAR, all the metrics and stuff like that, it'll tell you that Aaron Judge is the MVP. He had an unbelievable season, kind of a Bonds-like offensive season where he led the league. He won the batting title. He led the league in slugging and on base, and on his OPS plus, which is a scale from with 100 being the league average, he was at 215, which is just otherworldly. That's again, that's Bonds numbers right there. So what he was able to do offensively was just overwhelming to the field. But, your heart a little bit said, and the narrative and the story of the season, we're going to think of this season as the Cal Raleigh season, because a switch hitting catcher hit 60 home runs and led a team with a tortured fan base to a division title for the first time in nearly 25 years and almost to the World Series. And so because of that, I do think Raleigh's season is going to be more memorable when we look back on it. Also the fact that he catches and that's the most physically demanding position in the game. And he caught like 129 this offseason. We'll see. And have a good one. We'll see you with the next one.